GHOne TV, your best experience.
Hello, good morning. Welcome. This is GHOne Newsroom. My name is Sewa. I'm here. Let's begin with our top stories. One person has been confirmed dead following the outbreak of Lassa fever in the country. We will take you live to the Tema General Hospital to bring you the latest updates. The Ghana Revenue Authority introduces excise tax stamp on all tobacco and some selected alcoholic beverages on the market. And later in sports, Azumanel Singh Sports Complex at Legon to receive facelift after years of neglect. And later on the international front, a Kenyan human rights group has accused police in the coastal region, including the city of Mombasa, of carrying out an increasing number of extrajudicial killings. We have details of these stories and many more. Do stay with us. Welcome to the program. One person has been confirmed dead following the outbreak of Lassa fever in Ghana. The Noguchi Memorial Institute and the Ghana Health Service have confirmed the outbreak with caution to members of the general public and all health institutions to be on high alert. The outbreak of Lassa fever has so far affected 18 states in Nigeria since the first case was recorded in January 1st, 2018, resulting in 72 deaths caused by the acute viral hemorrhagic fever. In the following report, we tell you what you should know about this deadly disease.
The disease has already affected several countries in West Africa, with over 300 cases and 31 deaths in Nigeria alone, and this has necessitated urgent spontaneous national response actions among all neighboring countries. Lassa fever is an acute viral hemorrhagic fever illness which is endemic in West Africa. The incubation period is 6 to 21 days. The onset of Lassa fever illness is often gradual with non-specific signs and symptoms and commonly presents with fever and general weakness at the early onset. Lassa fever virus is transmitted to humans via contact with food or household items contaminated with the urine, saliva, feces and blood of the rodent. Person-to-person infections and laboratory transmission can also occur, particularly in hospitals lacking adequate infection prevention and control measures. The disease is endemic in the rodent population in parts of West Africa, and the multi-mammoth rats serve as reserve for the virus. Lassa fever is known to be endemic in Benin, Guinea, Liberia, Mali, Sierra Leone and part of Nigeria, but probably exists in other West African countries as well. Ghana recorded first confirmed cases in 2011 in 2 districts, one each in Ashanti and Eastern regions. Early use of ribavirin within 7 days of disease onset, supportive care with rehydration and symptomatic treatment improves survival. There is no effective vaccine for the disease at the moment.
Now, hospital officials at the Tema General Hospital are currently holding a crucial meeting following the case of Lassa fever. The death of the carrier has placed us at the hospital on high alert. Let's cross over to the Tema General Hospital and speak with my colleague William Evans Inkum to give us live updates. Hello, Evans.
Hello, Sewa.
Yes, Evans, good morning and thank you for joining us. Can you confirm or deny if the case recorded there was indeed Lassa fever?
It was, as proven by the Noguchi Institute. But, Sewa, I must also tell you that information is highly controlled as far as this particular facility is concerned. The only information that is moving in the corridors of the hospital is the crunch meeting that is currently happening here at the administration block. I'm talking about the Tema General Hospital. They have been told not to speak to the public, especially with the development of this particular Lassa fever virus. But I must also say that they have been very economical in what to tell the public and what not to tell the public. So, Sewa, that is the situation here at the moment.
William, do you know if more cases have been reported there? Hello, William, can you hear me? Well, unfortunately, we lost William Evans Inkum there, but we're trying so hard to get more information on how you can take care of yourself concerning this deadly disease. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll bring you the rest of our stories. Welcome back. This is GHOne Newsroom. My name is Sewa. I'm here. Let's cross over to the Ministry of Health. My colleague Alice Aite is there and will bring us updates on the same issue, the Lassa fever. Hello, Alice. Thank you for joining us. What can you tell us?
Okay, so I'm here at the national office or head office of the Ghana Health Service, and we've been here for the past 1 hour, but officials or authorities here are not speaking. However, information we have is that the Director General and other leading officials are in a crunch technical meeting, planning the way forward and putting together some official information to release to the media later. But some pockets of information or pieces of information we have also gathered is that the victim or the patient who died of Lassa fever at the Tema General Hospital is a Ghanaian, unlike what is speculating in some media reports that it could be somebody from Nigeria or elsewhere on the continent where there's an outbreak of the fever. But information we have gathered is that the person is a Ghanaian who is coming from a different region, but we can't tell which region in particular the person was coming from before he ended up at Tema and then was rushed to the Tema General Hospital while he fell ill somewhere around 23rd. But we don't have much information right now since the authorities are not speaking, but they have assured us that there's no cause for fears because they are putting things in place. They are going to decontaminate the area where the patient was treated in the Tema General Hospital. Hence, there's no cause for alarm. So far, that's the little we have picked here at the Ghana Health Service. But also, we have information that the Director General and probably maybe the Minister of Health would later on hold a press conference to officially tell us what exactly is happening. So for now, that is the little that we can tell our viewers. But we will follow closely. We will follow the matter closely and ensure that we bring updates later in our subsequent bulletins. Sewa.
All right, thank you very much, Alice Aite, right there at the Ghana Health Service to bring us updates. Let's go back to Tema, where my colleague William Evans Inkum is currently at the Tema General Hospital, where the first case of the Lassa fever was recorded. Hello, Evans.
Hello, Sawa.
So, how are the people in Tema generally reacting to this development?
Okay, so I would say that the information has not spread that much because we've been having an engagement with a couple of patients who have been trickling in the hospital, and what they are telling us that, in fact, I would say some know about, or some have had some level of information as far as the Lassa fever virus case detected here at the hospital some hours ago was concerned, but some are also oblivious about this particular development. But I told you early on, information to the public is well controlled as far as this particular hospital is concerned. Even among the hospital staff, you go to them and they will not open up. The only thing that I have been told is that a unit has been set to quarantine the hospital staff, and apart from that, here at the administration block, they're also having a crunch meeting on the matter. Sewa.
All right, thank you very much, William Evans Inkum. We'll keep nosing around to bring you more information on how you can take care of yourself regarding this deadly disease. Now, the embattled director of the Ankafo Psychiatric Hospital, Dr. GHOne Dodoye, has finally proceeded on leave. In a letter cited by GHOne News and copied to the various unit heads, the accountant and controller general, the deputy head of the pharmaceutical department of the hospital, among others, Dr. GHOne Dodoye indicated that his leave commenced on Tuesday, 27th of February 2018. The letter said he was handing over to the deputy in charge of pharmaceutical services at the hospital, to David Otuo-Srebo, to act in his stead. This appears to be in sharp contrast to an earlier directive given by the Health Ministry. The ministry, in mid-February, at a meeting with the staff of the hospital, indicated that Dr. GHOne Dodoye was going to be removed from the facility after agitations of his removal by staff got rife. The medical director has been accused by staff for what they describe as his poor working conditions, corrupt practices, among other charges. Now, renowned political historian Professor Nana Esilfi Kondia is urging the Akufo-Addo-led administration to exercise moderation on expenses for this year's Ghana 61 Independence Day celebration, which comes of next week, Tuesday. According to Professor Nana Esilfi Kondia, while the nation waits for the government to render accounts for last year's 60th anniversary expenses, the planning committee must realize that despite Ghana chalking 61 years since independence, the country is yet to implement homegrown solutions to overcome its numerous socio-economic challenges. He spoke to GHOne News' Redwan Karimdini Osman.
I think that a celebration, we celebrate to recall, audit what we have done in the past, find where we went wrong, try to put them right, and use the past, the glory in the past that we are celebrating, to patch up our determination to correct our errors of the immediate past so that we can proceed in peace, making a headway. But not where you have not done a little thing. I don't even think that the Ghana at 50 stuff is dead yet. But if you go ahead and aggravate it with new expenses, and whereas you have not been accountable, and mind you, it's a government which is talking about accountability, isn't it? We've got a special prosecutor, isn't it? And we are all talking about all of these things, nice things, but let's be careful that as a nation, we're very long on talking about ceremonies and will-dos, but we are very, very short, anemically short, of putting into practice what needs and what ought to be done properly and well done. Let's be very modest. 61 is not necessarily a landmark. 60 was, 50 is, 25 is, 70 is, 80 is, right? So let it be very modestly done, especially when we're crying that we are in economic crisis. The others from whom you go to borrow money, they are willing to do it, but you are ridiculous. They're laughing at you. Look at him. He has no money. He has come on table asking for a loan. But he has that money to lavish. For what? Show off? The time is gone.
Now, the political back and forth with the change of name of the seat of government has been ignited once again as President Akufo-Addo is bent on renaming Flagstaff House Jubilee House. While some believe both names have historical basis, others reckon it is absolutely unnecessary. In the following report, GHOne Newsroom explores why politicians cannot simply resist the temptation of renaming the seat of government whenever in power.
The Flagstaff House was the British military headquarters during the colonial era. It later became the presidential palace during the tenure of Ghana's first president, Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. The plush presidential palace was rebuilt in 2008 during the reign of former President John Agyekum Kufuor. It was then known as the Golden Jubilee House until the National Democratic Congress took over governance of the country in 2009 under the late President, Professor John Evans Atta Mills. Professor Mills refused to occupy the Flagstaff House, preferring the colonial edifice, the Osu Castle, as the seat of government. He also reverted the name of the edifice to Flagstaff House, claiming the name Jubilee House was not backed by law. The house was temporarily used as offices for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs until the presidency was moved there later in 2013. It's been almost 9 years and the current NPP administration still appears unenthusiastic about the name Flagstaff House. And in fact, President Akufo-Addo has always demonstrated an unerring quest to rename the seat of government Jubilee House. His latest announcement was when some chiefs paid a courtesy call on him at the Flagstaff House. Political historian Professor Nana Esilfi-Kondia, however, insists the president should not be seen to be playing politics with such an important landmark.
It is raising a wholly unnecessary controversy. It's not important. We've got to not to forget that we have a history. In our poor way of handling our history, we don't even leave landmarks. Flagstaff House is a name that is an important bit in our historical landmark for this country, just like the Osu Castle, Christiansburg. I don't know what is urging anyone to itch to do this displacement.
Former Deputy Communications Minister Felix Kwakye-Ofosu is certain the president wants to distort the country's history.
They've made a myriad of promises that they've not been able to keep. They promised us a factory in every district. They've not even molded a single block to start putting up factories. They promised a dam in every village. There's not a single trench that has been dug with a view to building a dam. They promised to send $1 million Ghana cedis to $1 million to every constituency every year, starting from last year. Not a cent has been sent to any constituency in this country. They promised the youth of Ghana jobs. They promised to reduce fuel. They have not done it. So whilst all these promises beg for attention, the last thing you expect is that the president would put such triviality on the front burner and engage in such insignificant matters.
Meanwhile, some members of the public have greeted the president's decision with mixed feelings.
I honestly don't see anything wrong with it because history is history. So if he wants to change it, there's nothing wrong with it. To me, it's okay.
So Jubilee or Flagstaff House, you are okay with any of them?
It's always been Flagstaff House. So if he wants to change it to Jubilee, Jubilee is clearly not a bad name, so it's okay.
I think the change of name wouldn't have any effect on. What we need is him to do what he promised to do for us in the country, not to change the name. The name change will not make any difference in the policies that he wants to bring into the country.
I think it's high time we just stuck to one particular name. I don't think it's relevant to any form of any development. So it's better we just get one name and then we stick to it, because if any party comes in power and decides to be changing the name of places, I don't think it makes sense at all.
It's not Martin, it's their party, so they can change. It was Kofo who changed it. Then when the NDC people came, they changed it. So if MPP they are in power, then they have to change. They have their right. They can do it.
But what will be the worst case scenario if the Akufo-Addo-led government goes ahead with the renaming of the Flagstaff House?
Whoever succeeds will change it. It will raise a furor in the country. They may choose not to mind either in Parliament because they have an overwhelming majority, and the whip, the three-line whip, will be raised to pass it. But then there will be another occasion where this will have to be reversed for the reasons that I've given you. That is why I am saying it's so unimportant. Never important.
The Flagstaff House is ranked the 10th most beautiful presidential palace in the world, while the lips of many Ghanaians have become used to the name Flagstaff House. President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo does not seem committed to maintaining the status quo. Reporting for GHOne News, my name is Ridwan Karim Dini Osman.
Nigeria Minister Ambrose Derry has assured the public of maximum security in the wake of recent armed robbery cases. This follows a brazen attack on Royal Motors by 4 armed men on Tuesday. 2 suspects have since been arrested. Reacting to the incident, Ambrose Derry told the public not to panic.
Speaking to GHOne News, the Nandom MP said logistical challenges of the police service are being addressed. Derry disclosed government is in the process of procuring choppers to aid in police work. He believes helicopters could have prevented an easy getaway by the robbers.
We are now being confronted by the fact that, yes, the president made the commitment of 800 million. We initiated action to procure. But then we might have to go for the fastest means of procurement. And I think that among the things that we are seeking to buy, helicopters, for instance, and drones, are things that will give us the capacity to be able to do that. If a helicopter took to the air yesterday and were flying over those guys, they would have aborted and run away. But we are yet working hard to get there. But what I want to tell you is that in all these things, the president is very much awake.
The Interior Minister, however, refuses to accept the NPP administration has failed to give Ghanaians adequate security. Ambrose Derry argues the situation hasn't gotten out of hand to warrant the involvement of the military, as suggested by many.
The Minister for Defence and I are convinced that if we could
let the internal matters be run by the police and other agencies, and then leave the soldiers to deal with external matters, it will be good. But having said that, it would be naive to say that in the transition we wouldn't need them. Yes, we continue to need them. We haven't lost control at all. It's a regrettable situation in the past 2 days, but I can assure you the police are on top of it.
MP for Ablekuma South and former Accra Mayor Alfred Oko-Vanderpoy, however, argues the military must be called in to assist the police. The member of the Defence and Interior Committee of Parliament believes a task force is what is required to address the rising insecurity situation.
They have to be called to action under the leadership of the Ministry of Local Government, the Ministry of Defence, and the Ministry of Interior. They must put in place the action committees, task force, made up of the police and the military and the BNI, because these sections of our ministries are all members of the DISEC and the MESEC of the various assemblies. They ought to be activated immediately.
Let's take you live to Parliament and speak with our parliamentary correspondent, Ibrahim Al-Hassan. Hello, Ibrahim. Thank you for joining us. We understand the Education Minister is on the floor of Parliament. What more can you tell us?
Well, Dr. Matthew Foku-Kempeh is on the floor answering questions from members of Parliament. A specific question that has caught everybody's attention is what the ministry and for that matter government is rolling out to ensure that vocational and technical education get the required attention just as other sectors of education. And its assurance is that, yes, indeed, government is committed to pumping in as much resources to vocational and then technical education as much as any other, give it science, grammar, or any other aspect of education. And he cites example as in the conversion of the polytechnics into technical universities and the fact that they've been given university status, and then also a government proposal on the table for these polytechnics, which are now referred to as technical universities, to come under the mother public universities. So, for instance, you can have Accra Polytechnic, now known as Accra University for Technology, coming under University of Ghana, for it to mentor it to grow and become as prominent as the University of Ghana in that regard. So his assurance is that, yes, government is not going to neglect technical or vocational education at all, and that is why the government has committed enough resources in that regard. There are also constituency-specific questions from, for instance, Dr. Clement Apas, and what have you, seeking to find out how the state of development as far as some educational infrastructure in his constituencies are concerned, among others. So basically, that's what my Foku-Kempeh is on the floor doing now. Even before session started, you are aware what happened yesterday, the robbery, menace, and what have you that have generated a lot of concerns. Some members of Parliament took the opportunity to provide solutions. So, for instance, one member of Parliament, Nabu, the Buki Nabu, that's the brother of Buki Nabu, is of the opinion that, listen, the military should be brought in, just as Oko-Vanderpoy said. But in his proposal, he was quite radical. He believes that if the police are not able to curb the menace in due time, then the military should just take over and then push the police somewhere. So these are some of the valid proposals coming from members of Parliament who are equally concerned about the state of insecurity, as many have described it in this country.
Ibrahim, has anything regarding the free SHS come up in this conversation?
Not yet, and this is an issue that has been flogged, and somebody might say overflogged. If I can recall, Matthew Foku-Kempeh, the Education Minister, Doctor, has been on the floor for no less than 5 times, answering specific questions relating to the implementation of a government flash program, GHOne. And in all his answers, or in all his appearances on the floor, his assurance is that government has enough funds are being put in, the challenges are being addressed. So it's not come out yet, but even if it comes, I'm sure his answer wouldn't be different from what he's been telling at the House in previous encounters.
Right, thank you very much. Ibrahim Al-Hassan is our parliamentary correspondent there. Now, Member of Parliament for Asawase, Muntaka Mubarak, has vowed to defeat the Legal Profession Regulations 2018. The Subsidiary Legislation Committee of Parliament is recommending approval of the legislative instrument seeking to regulate admissions into law school in spite of petitions from law students for its withdrawal. However, the minority chief whip, who has gathered signatures from his colleagues, tells GHOne News he will trigger a standing order of parliament called division, which requires every MP's name is recorded against his vote on the matter.
Muntaka Mubarak, confident the LI will be defeated, he challenged the recommendation by the Subsidiary Legislation Committee to pass the LI.
Why do you want to put the cart before the horse? Because all LIs are driven from the Act. So simply bring the Act, let us all put our minds together, let's get the Act right. When we get it right, then we'll now have an LI that will deal with the Act. But why do you want to say that, oh, because I'm prepared to bring an Act, give me the LI to go and I later bring the Act? Why? It's not done.
The majority leader, Osei Mensa Bonsu, and chairman for the Subsidiary Legislation Committee, Mahama Ayariga, faulted Muntaka and his other colleague for collating signatures to throw out the LI, explaining the move was alien to the House. The minority chief whip, however, argues the attack was unwarranted since the move was only to galvanize support against the LI.
Before then, it was overwhelming. Now they are bringing these excuses and pleading and calling individual members and talking to them and what have you. I'm not convinced because I still believe that it can be better than the way they are doing it. Look, it doesn't matter about numbers. You don't need numbers to call for division. You don't need numbers. One person can call for division so that the record of the House will have it that this is when it came to the count. This is how people voted.
You're still watching GHOne Newsroom. Let's go for a quick break. When we come back, we continue with the rest of our stories.
International Trade Fair is back again. From the 28th February to the 7th of March 2018, the Ghana Trade Fair Company will be hosting over 500 exhibitors from all over the world for the 22nd International Trade Fair at the Ghana Trade Fair Center, La Accra. Come and have quality entertainment while you network to develop your business. Activities lined up for the 22nd International Trade Fair: Wednesday, 28th February, opening ceremony; Thursday, 1st March, Regional Day celebration; Friday, 2nd March, High Life Night; Saturday, the 3rd of March, Country Day celebration; Sunday, 4th March, Food Fair and CEO's cooking competition; Monday, the 5th of March, Cocoa Day and Intomadan. Then on the 6th of March, the biggest outdoor concert. Come and enjoy your favorite local Ghanaian dishes at the Food Fair while you listen to evergreen high life music at the Beer Festival on weekends and holidays. The Kids Corner will give our children a treat with their favorite cotton candy, ice cream, bouncy castle, swimming pool, face painting and many more. Be part of the 22nd International Trade Fair. Join us from the 28th to the 7th of March at the Ghana Trade Fair Center as we trade and network in style and entertainment under the theme Industrializing Ghana and Creating Jobs. The program is brought to you by the Ghana Trade Fair Company in partnership with the Ministry of Trade, One District, One Factory and EIB Network.
Welcome back. This is GHOne Newsroom. My name is Sewa Amihe. Now, the Executive Director of Dankwa Institute, Kingsley Nyako, has stated that Ghana must take significant steps to promote good governance in the country. According to him, good leadership built on transparency and accountability is very critical to the development of the country.
With individual freedoms at the heart of the Institute's philosophy, the Institute believes that government should be dedicated to the growth of a property-owning democracy in order to enrich the life of every citizen of the country.
Building a democratic society is not only about the systems, it's also about the people. So the idea is to take our members to training, all our members, from the polling station level, those who are coordinators, coordination level, regional, national, and the members of parliament.
On his part, former director of the institution, Gabi Ocheredako, said the institute will continue to nurture the youth with different forms of training.
Dankwa should remain intellectually independent. It must tell the truth to power, but in a way that is constructive. The most important thing is how we prepare the young ones to take up the mantle of leadership. A leadership of integrity, a leadership of patriotism, of higher values than what we've been used to or served as a country.
As part of celebrating 10 years of existence, the institution will be donating to inmates at the sworn prisons, among other activities. Dankwa Institute, which was established in January 2008, is named after the late Dr. Joseph Boachi Dankwa, one of Ghana's founding fathers, who established Ghana's first political party in 1947.
Let's do business now. Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has called for the formulation of an effective and efficient land administration system in the country that suits the emerging socio-economic dynamics. To this end, he said there was the need for an up-to-date spatial data on land to aid the planning, effective land management and development at the national, regional and local levels. The Vice President Dr. Bawumia made the call at the Land Administration Reforms Conference organized by the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources in Accra.
The Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo government is committed to creating a healthy land administration environment that promotes investments in land use, land management for agricultural transformation, for housing, for industrial activities. It is therefore most imperative that we make strategic interventions needed in addressing the fundamental issues plaguing the current land administration system. There is capital value in land. Let us create a transparent and progressive market for land. Let us securitize it to create wealth. In fact, I believe that you will have over $100 billion on land sitting in Ghana if you can actually get the equity out. So there's a lot of wealth in there. We call on the efforts of all stakeholders to make this happen.
Now, the African Center for Economic Transformation is advocating the need for Ghana to engage in a broader consultation on the long-standing disconnect between academia and the job market. In an interview with GH1 News, a labor economist with the African Center for Economic Transformation, Professor William Boateng, said the time has come for government to be strategic in its approach towards job creation for the majority of the teeming youth who graduate from various levels of education each year.
With the exception of 2014, when growth fell below 4%, the country's GDP growth has been remarkably high, ranging between 4.3% and 14%. This gives an annual average growth rate of 8.1% over the period 2007 to 2013. But this has not translated into jobs for a rapidly expanding population, as employment growth has not kept pace with GDP. According to the Africa Center for Economic Transformation, the youth unemployment pattern appears higher among the educated than the less educated. This, the center blames focuses on the missing link between Ghana's educational system and the job market.
The training that we are giving is not based on what the labor market is looking at. And when we say that, it's not just training some people in certain programs, but it's about how to teach people to think, how to teach people to be creative, how to teach people to be innovative. And because the world of work is changing so fast that if you train somebody to use the camera, in the next 5 years, you see that that type of work will not be there. Remember, in those days, we used to have typewriters, and typewriters are no more. So when you are training, you have to train the people to be innovative, to be adaptable to every changing situation, and that is the best way to go.
Professor William Boateng called on the president to adopt strategic plans to ensure that while leveraging the private sector, it also contributes meaningfully to creating jobs.
If we leave everything to the private sector, it gets to a point then where government have to come in to regulate. So government will have a lot of task in regulating it. So government should not leave everything to the private sector. Government should also have some kind of role and not only focus on regulation.
Now, the Ghana Revenue Authority, as part of its measures to increase tax compliance, has introduced the excise tax stamp to be affixed on all some products beginning today. The enforcement team is already out to see the extent of its compliance, especially on tobacco products. Our reporter Francisca Dixon Ahin is with the GRA team and will be telling us more. Hello, Francisca.
Hi, Sarah.
How is it going?
So far, we've been to 3 different places, but the policy, Sarah, is part of government's efforts to address the counterfeiting of products on the Ghanaian market and to also improve revenue assurance. So this morning, the Ghana Revenue Authority is out here in town, and earlier on, before today, the authority mounted an intensive public education on the role of every stakeholder in order to ensure that the public understood the issues involved and also to elicit their cooperation. So the first place of call this morning was the Usu Oxford Street Mall. When we got here, fortunately, most of the products had the tax stamp. The implementation begins with tobacco, alcoholic and non-alcoholic drinks, bottled waters, and then textiles. So when we got to the first place, that's the Usu Oxford Street Mall, as I said earlier on, most of the products had the tax stamp. We then moved to Kuala, but Kuala, unfortunately, they didn't have most of their products with the tax stamp. So GRA authorities had a chat with the management of Kuala, and I think the Kuala manager promised his immediate boss isn't around, but then we'll come to the GRA office for further clarification. Now we are at Marina Mall. We just got here, so I'm yet to find out what will go on here. But then the essence of this program is that it will enable the GRA to effectively monitor the payment of excise tax by registered manufacturers and importers, and close the loopholes in the administration of excise tax in Ghana, and also to ensure that the correct quantum of tax is paid by Ghanaians.
Francisca, are there any sanctions that will be applied to those who fail to comply to this policy?
Yes, there will, but before, this is just for GRA to come and make sure that after the exercise that was done, they want to find out if the public are administering the policy. So this is just to make sure that the campaign that they did was understood, and then business owners are adhering to it.
All right, thank you very much. Francisca Dixon Ahin is with our business desk and is following the GRA concerning the tax compliance. Let's go over the phone again and speak with Kweku Timing. We understand that the Ghana Free Zones is having a conference and he's live there for us. Hello, Kweku.
I'm here. It's great joining you this afternoon. Actually, I'm at a meeting with the free zones where we are discussing how the challenges in Ghana's free zones enclaves can be resolved. Indeed, they brought all the CEOs of the free zones company. Now, when we talk about free zones companies, they are this that basically produce to export to bring in or shore up revenue, foreign exchange for the country. Well, the CEO has been answering questions on several issues bordering on security, bordering on tax relief, issues on how they can have a better environment to operate in. I have the head of estates here with us, and I'll basically want him to touch on some few things. So, sir, discussions going on. Somebody even mentioned that there's been problems with robberies, even at the enclave. When they put their transformers there, people pick them up. Can you, sir, give me your name and tell me how some of these issues can be resolved?
Hello, my name is Kwame Nsia Asante. I'm the head of estate and enclave development. Yes, we must admit, as the CEO said, there have been few robberies at the free zone enclave at Tema, but we are not resting on our hours. We at the moment have given a vehicle to a pickup to the Pome police to start their normal patrol. We are also in serious discussions with the military so that they can provide security services beside our normal contracted security company, because we want to use the military, because the security company, private security company don't have access. They can't carry arms or weapons. So we want to use the military and also establish a police post inside the free zone enclave with hotlines so that for timely intervention in case of any robbery, we anticipate that within the state of 3 minutes, the police will be there to take control of the situation. All right, so I had the head of estates, and these are the challenges. The robbery situation in the country has extended to the business community, and all of them are trying to find ways and means. It's amazing that today they are talking about involving the military now at the free zones enclave, and these, amongst other issues, are what are being discussed here. Sewa, back to you.
Thank you very much. Kweku Timing is the head of our business desk with the Ghana Free Zone Sport. Let's take a quick breather. When we come back, we have international and sports.
Our special reports go beyond barriers.
The government forces were firing from that torched building, and then the rebels were also returning fire from this place.
The frustration that shows on the faces of many commuters is an indication of their anticipation.
Introducing our weekend edition of the news. If you could not catch us in the course of the week, catch us on the weekend. It's crisp, authoritative, and original. No. Trust our reporters to bring you up-to-the-minute information, whether it's breaking or developing. Our reporters will fish it out.
So we're just going to stand here and watch how this car burns to ashes without...
Our cameras never miss any action. Weekend edition starts March 3, 2018. GHOne News. News you can trust.
Welcome back. This is GHOne Newsroom. Just a reminder that our weekend news starts this weekend. Up next is international news.
A Kenyan human rights group has accused police in the coastal region, including the city of Mombasa, of carrying out an increasing number of extrajudicial killings. A spokeswoman for Haki Africa, Salma Himet, said there have been 3 such deaths so far this week. She said the actions of the police were driving young people to become radicalized or join gangs. The Kenyan authorities have rejected similar accusations in the past. Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch had also previously accused the Kenyan security forces of carrying out forced disappearances, summary killings and torture with impunity. US President Donald Trump has stunned lawmakers from both parties by telling them in a live broadcast not to be so petrified of the powerful gun lobby, the National Rifle Association. In a break from his party's stance on gun control, Trump urged lawmakers to come up with a strong reform bill. He suggested expanding background checks for gun buyers and raising the legal age to buy rifles to 21 from 18. His comments come in the wake of the deadly school shooting in Florida.
Till I'm 21 to get a handgun, but I can get this weapon at 18. I don't know. So I was just curious as to what you did in your bill. You don't address it?
We didn't address it, Mr. President. Well, I think
you know why? Because you're afraid of the NRA, right?
No.
Chris, did you have something?
No. I think you underestimate the power of the gun lobby.
No, I'll tell you what. And they do have great power. I agree with that. They have great power over you people. They have less power over me. I don't need it. What do I need? But I tell you, they are well-meaning. And I said to them very nice, I said, fellas, we got to do something.
Let's go into the world of sports now. In the world of sports, the much-awaited renovation works at the Accra Sports Stadium has commenced in earnest. The move is on works of the first phase of the renovation of the facility. This is to pave way for the rest of the renovation works to continue. The Accra Sports Stadium has not seen any major renovation since 2008 after hosting the Africa Cup of Nations. The facility has since deteriorated and has since been described as a death trap, compelling the Ministry of Youth and Sports to close down the National Stadium. Now, Ghana's oldest multi-sport facility, the Azuma Nelson Sports Complex, is set to be transformed into a modern sports and youth facility to aid sports development in the country. Formerly known as Kaneshi Sports Complex, the facility has in time past been in a very deplorable state and also lacked maintenance culture since its existence. The poor state of the stadium, which has a capacity of 10,000 spectators, has led to many sports fanatics asking Ghanaian boxing legend Azuma Nelson to get his name off the edifice. But Youth and Sports Minister Isaac Esiama has revealed the stadium will soon receive a massive facelift. Refurbished Azuma Nelson Sports Complex is going to host our national federations, our national teams, and the situation where we pay for the camping of our national teams will soon be a thing of the past. Elvis Ejeba, who is the PRO of the Ministry of Sports. Hello, Elvis.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. Can you take us through exactly what you're going to be doing with this renovation?
All right, thank you. Good afternoon to your viewers. As you are aware, this afternoon or this morning, we have cut the sod for work to begin on what will be known as the Azuma Nelson Youth and Sports Center after works have been completed. And as a Ministry of Youth and Sports, our vision is to give value for money and to ensure that we haul up our sports infrastructure in this country. So, as you already know, some few weeks ago, we began the renovation of the Accra Sports Stadium. Today, we are here, and the Honorable Minister for Youth and Sports, Honorable Kwame Siama, has cut the sod for work to begin at these premises. You are also aware that for some time now, since the edifice was put up as the Kaneshi Sports Complex, and later it was renamed as Azuma Nelson Sports Complex, it has not been a sight to behold, because you could see that the situation has been left unattended to, and all sort of issues, all sort of commentaries, negative commentaries have been made against the facility. It has been in a South State, and that is the reason why the Ministry of Youth and Sports, together with the National Youth Authority, we thought that we had to come in and then revamp the place, because the place has a maximum potential to host our national team.
All right, that's very fine, Elvis. But you say that the place has been in a deplorable state for a long time. Why has it taken the ministry so long to renovate it then?
Well, it all boils down to funding. It all boils down to funding, and
it boils down. I want us to make this very, very easy for our viewers. You say that it boils down to funding. How much money are we looking at here, and do you have the money now?
Yes, I can tell you that this facility has secured the necessary funding that will be needed to complete this facility. As I speak to you, work has begun after the short cutting. It is going to cost the country or the ministry 80 million Ghana cedi. That is $4 million, and that I can assure viewers and all the sporting fraternities, stakeholders, that we have already secured the funds, and that work will progress in earnest, and that by 16 months, this facility that houses a potential for a multi-purpose sports arena, the hostel facility that we are going to revamp to ensure that we can use it as a camping facility for our national teams, will be completed within 16 months after work has begun.
All right, thank you very much. Elvis Ejeda is the PRO for the Ministry of Sports. Now, the newly appointed head coach of Kotoko, Kwesi Fabing, has decided to drag his former trainee and a media house in Kumasi to court over the bribery accusation the former made against him. The former Asante Kotoko striker, Kojo Poku, in an exclusive interview with Kumasi-based Silver FM, accused his former boss, Kwesi Fabing, of taking bribe during his stay with the club in the 2009-2010 season. Information reaching us indicates that Kwesi is deliberating with his lawyers to sue Kojo Poku and the radio station for giving him the platform to damage his reputation. And that's it for GHOne Newsroom. My name is Sewa Ami here. The news team will be back here at 3:25 with GHOne News updates. But also a reminder that our weekend news starts this weekend. Have a good day.